Hello, my friends, or I should say, good evening, my friends. It's our live stream for Sunday night, regularly scheduled. If you're new to the live streams, in the 8 p.m. slot, which we do on Wednesdays and Sundays every week, it's actually subscriber rather than members only. It's subscriber only for the time being, anyways. So it's unlimited questions, just a matter of being a subscriber in this case. And in this video, we're going to go over the S&P 500. I'm going to do Bitcoin throughout October by the day, special request. And then we're going to take a look at SUI for 2025 and then long term and see what's going on there. And then by then, there'll probably be some people who have questions and we'll add on the other tickers as we go. At the end of this, I'm going to let you guys know about a special offer that we have on multi-year readings. So stick around for that, and I'll let you guys know about that. So this looks pretty solid, guys. It was a little unclear if we were going to have a high here on the 3rd or the 4th, but there's a pretty strong possibility that that here on the 7th is going to be higher than the 4th. Look at that. Right there on the 1st, we had a high. And based on the fact that we moved this far to the upside on the 4th, my sense is that we'll probably have a higher price level here on the 7th. But we're going to open lower before moving pretty significantly to the upside. Right, we open lower, pretty significant move to the upside, followed by a pretty sharp move back down. So a low, a high, and then a low in the early part of the day here. Some pretty solid trading. And in the midst of that move to the upside that we had here at the end of the day on Friday, I advised people to open up a short for an over the weekend swing. So that's looking pretty solid as of right now. You will cash out of it. This is a cross-reading congruency, so you cash out of the short there. And I would say flip if you time it well and you don't see like a lot of movement to the upside before you cash out of the short, I would say open up a long there for a quick scalp into a high for the day. The move to the high, you're going to want to be quick about that because it's going to turn around and we're going to come right back down to low. So you could flip from a long back to a short for another scalp if you're really nimble. I'll be looking at this in real time to help advise. So if you've got early access on our website, Tarot for Traders, then you'll get the live Discord alerts, and I'll be drawing on the chart most likely. If I see it, I don't always see it on the chart, but when I do, I draw it. Interesting. Oh, it's not a cross-reading congruency with the high there, per se. Interesting. Let's see. Are we going to have a higher price level here? Looks like it's probably going to be the same high. So right around this price level here that we have marked off is where you're going to want to sell. Now, trading SO meta-analysis, you're going to want to make sure that you're not like waiting for a specific price level. You want to pay attention to the overall chart behavior and the sequence of events for timing entry and exits. But again, if you get the early access and you've got the Discord alerts, and I'll be following along on this for you tomorrow. Pretty lucrative opportunities tomorrow. Close. So again, just a quick review. We'll close out of the short first thing in the morning. And if you time it well and you don't see movement to the upside before closing the short, then at the same time open up a long for a scalp. You're going to want to close the scalp when we reach roughly, to be safe, I would say what is this? Let's see what this line is. Interesting. There's nothing for it. Well, I would say we're to be safe. You're gonna want to like look to close out of it like within a price range around here somewhere. Um, and I'll circle it. I'll be able to draw it on the ellipse tomorrow. Doesn't make sense to do it right now because we haven't seen where we open, but I'll draw it tomorrow. So if you've got the link, the live updated. Oh wow, live updated trading view link. That wasn't. Why wasn't that being shared? What the heck? That's so weird. Anyhow, that's in early access on our Discord channel. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. All right, so we're gonna take a look at Bitcoin now. I had somebody on Discord. One of my angels on Discord was requesting that I do Bitcoin by the day for you guys. So that's not something I'm going to do for all monthlies anymore. Just a little too much, but um, but we'll do it today because that's my man asking. It's a good guy. So here, based on where we are, guys, if you're holding that long that we opened here, if you're holding that long, then this is actually like a safe exit. We're in the same price range as predicted, just a little bit later, which happens sometimes. But you want to go for the price range, basically. Um, you know what I mean? Like, why? Let's say that this came beforehand. Would you wait for the circle? No, you'd close at that price range. So this is not an awful place. But what we've got for the remainder of, well, first off, here on the first and the second, you can see these unicursals. We had a really sharp drop here right at the start. There was a pretty big move to the upside out of the decline and then more movement to the downside. Matter of fact, that's the move right there. That's the push to the upside and then more movement to the downside. But now that's turned around. Yeah, so this is the other location where we most likely expected. In a lot of the monthlies, there's a highest high for the month taking place around the 7th, 8th, and especially since we didn't see it here on the 5th as a highest high, I would say this is probably where we have like a cap off, turn around, probably return to it. We're gonna do some like back and forth here. Back and forth between highs and some moves to the downside as we move through the month. But so far, this has been pretty accurate. This was still a peak, right? We had this resistance we failed to break through that was highlighted on the 5th. A bit of a decline there, and then a rally into this resistance level. So this is probably the resistance right here. Right, so that's that truce price level, I would say. And what happens when we hit the truce price level? If this isn't the truce price level, then I'll say it's probably going to be a little bit higher. Like if we go a little bit higher, then you could say in there, right? Either way, off of the truce price level, there's usually a notable rally into that price level, that resistance, and then pretty immediately. Like we don't hang out at the resistance for long, when it's truce, and we kind of like do a reversal, and then we'll decline further down them from where the rally, in most cases, further down in price than where the rally started. You know. And we should see something like that, but that move back down is going to offer opportunity to open up long positions for swing trade. On the 9th, let me close this up a little bit here. On the 9th, we've got a prominent trough that'll stand out. Um, so probably what happens is we have a rally out of the decline on the 8th, which should be through multiple support levels. We have this rally to the upside, a sideways fluctuating rally on the 9th that precedes a decline taking place also on the 9th, and that should be a pretty sharp decline, like the kind of decline that we saw with these unicursals, right? We saw this decline here, unicursal. So we've got a unicursal drop here. It's not two in a row, it's one, but it should still be significant. So look out for that. So if you're just joining us, guys, I'm just going through Bitcoin by the day, special request. Somebody that supports the channel pretty regularly requested. So here we are. And once I get through that, we're going to take a look at SUI, and then we'll get into some of your questions. So that's that sharp decline, that sharp unicursal decline on the 9th. Out of that decline, there should be a big move to the upside. And what's interesting about the futility card is that it's indicating that there's some sort of chart behavior there that's going to be like, it's going to be very bearish, right? We're going to expect, based on the sharp decline there and whatever happens, like on a technical analysis standpoint, around the 9th, 10th, we're going to expect it to indicate that we're going lower, but instead we move to the upside anyways. And depending on how far down we go, it'll either be a prominent peak on the 10th, out of the decline, big move to the upside to a prominent peak on a 1 month scale, or if we're within range, I would say then it's going to be a revisiting of a high. Another sharp decline on the 11th through multiple supports. There's like a pop and drop there around the 10th, 11th, and then a lot of price change to the downside on the 12th. And I think probably out of that decline, either before that decline or out of that decline, there's also going to be a notable move to the upside. Probably out of the decline on the 12th through multiple supports. We'll do sideways rotation and then a big move to the upside, taking us back to an important technical price level. This will be important on like a 1 year chart scale, not just like on a multi-day scale, but like when you're looking at it from the scale of a 1 year chart, it should really stand out as an important technical price level. And we'll remember to mark that off when we get to the 13th. On the 14th, there's a notable reversal on a multi-day scale that'll stand out. There's a trade opportunity there. And there's a fast sudden move higher on a multi-day scale that's followed by a full retracement. That retracement may even go further into the 15th, or whether or not it's... So it'll either like fully retrace there on the 14th, or it'll continue into the 15th, the decline, and then out of that decline on the 15th should be another fast sudden move higher, ending the decline at least temporarily and taking us to another prominent peak. Same situation. If we're within range of the highs for the month, then I would say this is probably a high again. But if it's a pretty sharp decline and it doesn't look like we're returning equally, and rather than us going sideways we're going like lower and lower with consecutively higher lower highs on the way down. Those are the two options, right? So this is going to be a prominent peak or another revisiting of the high. And then on the 16th, an unexpected move to the upside, another prominent peak or possible high. And this is actually one of the locations that I have circled off as a highest high. We have one here around the 10th, 11th. We have one here around the 18th, 19th. But it's tricky. This is a tricky one. I'm not like 100% confident about those locations. We were timing these highs with some pretty difficult like nullifications near the local low cards, right? So it made for a tricky thing, and then having highs this far into a month with such a bearish theme card also makes it for a pretty tricky month. So be very careful. But again, this could be another high or prominent peak. And then on the 17th, there is a period of sideways rotation, and then a fast move to the upside towards the end of the day on the 17th. There's some sort of fake out there on the 17th, that is an intentional fake out or shakeout of some kind taking place. And then on the 18th, resistance on a multi-day scale that will decline from pretty notably, probably at another prominent peak. I don't think this one will actually be a high. Well, no, actually, this may very likely is the high right here, on the 18th. That resistance level will decline from pretty notably. We'll meet support on the 19th, where we do sideways rotation. A lot of price change on the 19th to the downside. So it may be that we're revisiting the Ace of Swords price level that's indicated on the 18th. We might be revisiting it on the 18th. Let's see. It looks like we revisit it on the 20th. And then also, I'll also point out, guys, that there is the possibility that we've got, like, there's an alternate possibility rather than there being a high, it ends up being a low. I don't think that's the case, but sometimes that happens. So it is an alternate to be aware of. Either way, we have a big move to the upside out of oversold territory, or like a gap up on a multi-day scale that takes place on the 20th into 3 failed attempts through key resistance, or the same trend line, I should say. Off of the third poke through, there's usually a sharp drop, and that sharp drop will take us into sideways rotation on the 21st, with a sharp drop in that sideways rotation standing out. Matter of fact, so I think it's probably like three pokes through the same price level on the 20th, with a sharp drop off of that third poke, and then that's followed by a pretty big move to the upside on the like into the 21st, with a peak at the end of the day revisiting support at a higher price level. And then there should be a really significant reversal on a multi-day scale and a sharp decline into the 22nd, like into a trough early in the day on the 22nd, and then a full retracement of that move back up probably on the same day. So like a real drop and then a pop, taking place around the 21st, most likely early in the 22nd. A lot of price change on the 23rd surrounding an important support level on a multi-day scale, and usually when you see the Emperor card, it's support that can be relied upon or trusted. It's a sound foundation of support in a lot of cases, but not always. There's a good chance that we don't, like, we establish that support temporarily, but then it doesn't hold, and on the 24th we decline through multiple supports, actually one support into another. We bounce along that support for a bit throughout the day, and then we break down through more supports into another trade opportunity and another trough. A lot of price change on the 25th relative to a multi-day chart, and multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance taking place there around the 25th. We have a pop and a drop taking place on the 26th. Which one comes first? Interesting. They're like really right on top of each other there. Okay, so there's a pretty big move to the upside on the 26th out of a prominent trough. And this is where what I have circled as very likely a lowest low for the month around here, around the 25th, 26th. So big move there, and then that big move takes us into an overbought crest around the 27th, with a sharp drop off of that overbought crest, like a unicursal hexagram drop on the 27th. If we don't see it on the 26th, then it's very, very certainly, almost certainly going to be on the 27th. On the 28th, a lot of price change within a period of volatility, a fast sudden move higher, ending that volatility, but there's also a decline on the 28th through multiple support levels. And then on the 29th, we have one of the biggest moves to the upside of the month, pushing the upper end of a range higher, followed by a notable reversal on a multi-day scale taking place on the 30th. a decline to key support on a multi-day scale on the 30th, offering significant trade opportunity that if you've got the monthly access where we've talked about here in the reading, is this being a significant buy opportunity for Bitcoin on a multi-day scale, because we're coming up on highest highs for the years very soon, very soon, and this is going to be a significant trough here on a multi-day scale to buy into. Be careful because there's also a big move there to the upside. Don't wait too long. There's a big move to the upside there towards the end of the day, and then a lot of price change on the 31st surrounding an important support level that we rotate sideways along. Support important on a multi-day scale again. That's the day by day for Bitcoin. For my man Baz out there. Hey AV, hey, it was luck. I'll get to you guys in just a sec. I'm gonna take a look at SUI, and then I'll be right with you. SUI is one that we cover on a total part of the total access pass. So right now, what we're looking at, this is an example of a multi-year reading. You guys don't see these too often because they're such like large scale. You don't need to reference these readings every day. These give you like, on a multi-year kind of chart scale. This is the type of information where we're looking at these cards going left to right, the two rows of cards going left to right. Here, there's a top row, and here there's a bottom row. These are what we call the timeline cards, and they represent about 1 year of time each. But it's really important to understand that SOMeta is predicting the sequence of chart events for that overall period of time, but to expect every year to like the card's energy to line up perfectly by the year, every year for 10 years is a little silly. It's too generalized, too broad of a scale. So you're going to see some variation where you'll have like plus or minus a year here or there on timing, or plus or minus even like 2 years in some cases on timing with these multi-year readings. But the sequence of events is what's the most important thing that remains accurate nonetheless. And so this is an example of that. So we were advised in 2023, which is this card here representing 2023. We're advised to be cautious there. Usually when you see the prudence card, which the orange correlates to, indicates a correlation to, usually what you'll see is some sideways, a significant amount of sideways rotation. And then it looks like here right at the start, there's like this big decline, which might trick you into thinking that we're going to continue to go lower. More of an indication or an example of the prudence card energy. Now the gain card energy is like this sideways rotation and then it ends usually with a fast sudden move higher. And you can see how at the very end of the year we've got this fast sudden move higher. In the 2024 card, we've got a lot of volatility. The Prince of Wands, the Prince of Swords is difficult in a lot of cases to determine overall chart direction because it's so volatile, but what you can really count on is a lot of price change covered. We have indications of a highest high there, and you can see how here in 2024 we've really come up very close to the highest highs. This green indicates an indication of correlation to the highest high on a multi-year scale here, which is the Ace of Swords. So we're gonna actually mark that off as Ace of Swords right here, and if we go a little bit higher, then I'll move it up. But I'm gonna mark that off. That'll be important moving forward, looking at it. Actually, I want to use this one. So, like I said, if we do go higher, because it does look like we're going to go higher, whatever the high ends up being here for SUI, that I'm going to mark off as the Ace of Swords. Now, it's important to understand that there's a trade opportunity. So this Ace of Swords price level, we're going to decline from it really notably, and then we'll return to it because it's like an Ace of Swords kind of indication. It's also correlates to the trade opportunity, which is the Princess of Swords. Same thing, an important resistance on a multi-year scale. We decline from and then return to. So in the midst of a decline, once you identify that resistance, anywhere in below it is opportunity to open up a long position. So you open up partial. If you go lower, open up partial. If you go lower, open up partial, and then eventually we return to that resistance, and that will be your exit. Looks like the exit ends up being in the following 10-year period. So anyhow, 2025 based on the multi-year is looking like we probably have a decline commence. I'm going to look at this on the scale of a 1-year chart reading as well in just a minute, but based on what I'm seeing here, we probably have a decline commence in 2024, taking us into a trough in 2025, out of which there's a huge move to the upside to a prominent peak, probably not a high, but a prominent peak on a multi-year scale on the cusp of 2025, 2026. But let's confirm that by taking a look at the 2024 reading first. So we had a lowest low right here in January, lowest low indication right here in January, a highest high between February and March. Looks like we had a highest high thus far in February, a higher high in March. So we sort of nailed that, although not quite, because I didn't see two highs there. Interesting. But that's probably why it's right smack in the middle, because you see like there's two of them. That's very characteristic of this type of reading. In any case, in March, there's a notable reversal. That's off. Didn't have another high there. But we do have a lowest low thus far in May, June. In early June, a big move from the bottom of a range to the top of a range. Then a decline to and through support, U-shaped reversal, come back and use it as support off of the high, off of the low, a rally that's halted by a decline through key support. June was really solid, prominent trough in June, and it looks like I was off on the lowest low. I have it here. It ends up being here. Well, that's not necessarily the case. There could in fact actually be another lowest low coming. But what we've got here in October is we're early in the month of October. We're pushing the upper end of a range higher into a high. The high and the low are within close time proximity to each other. And this is pretty much what you would call on a 1-year chart scale close time proximity. We're here in August, we're at the lowest low, and we're in October, like just a little bit over a month later, we're at highs again. So that's a pretty solid move, almost straight up to highs, which is characteristic when you see those two lapped over each other. So So it is possible that we don't go back to lows based on how high we are. But this is like an ace of discs through September into October. We're at the upper end of a range on a multi-year scale. We're probably going to push the upper end of this range higher. Yeah, we're going to see new all-time highs. Are they going to be new or the same? Yeah, they're going to be new. We're going to see new all-time highs here in October, guys. So a wise investor, somebody that's long on SUI at a good price level, they've got a solid profit. They're looking for an exit right now. Let's help them time that. Whoa. Okay. This is a big move, guys. But look, somebody who's got a good gain in SUI, this is a point that's very likely to be met. This resistance, and that's a safe exit. You got a solid gain. Who gives a shit about, excuse me, about this nonsense here? Yeah, it could go all the way up there, and you leave it on the table. But like, is that the only opportunity? Like, it's always better to go with an exit that's really like reliable. If you want to be more speculative, then you wait a little bit. But me personally, if I bought down here, which likely I would have because I time these things pretty well, um, I would probably sell here just to be on the safe side within this dark range right here. But very likely we're going to go up all the way up to this range up here. And then it's going to be met by a really sharp decline. Yeah, Sui's looking pretty dope. And then we probably revisit highs at the end of the year. Next year doesn't look like necessarily we have a higher high per se than what we have in 2024, but what it does look like is that out of a decline we're going to have another big move to like big move on a multi-year kind of scale. Anyhow, that's SUI thus far. You know what? I'm gonna do a new chart for SUI altogether because this is a little funky. Yeah, see, we're gonna go higher. This is very characteristic. This RSI of like a strong rally to the upside. So we should really go higher here. Sorry for the redundancy here, guys. I just realized I didn't have all the indicators on that chart. All right, so that's SUI. Hey AV, hey it was luck, hey breathe easy, shoot 'em up, proof, Raymond. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining tonight. Sean Altova, right back at you. Thank you. Is SPY high on Monday? Also, will next week have a pullback? Thank you. So yeah, that's the first thing that I covered. I'll review that real quick because it's UAV. So basically, what I instructed in the Discord alerts was to buy into this rally here at the end of the day, where we attempt to establish support right before the close, and that this coin right here. Oh, sorry, this coin. Where'd it go? Why is it being? Did it just freeze? My computer is bugging right now. What the heck? Wow, I don't know what is going on. All right, here we go. So this coin here was actually indicating a low based on what transpired, a low in the morning here. Sharp drop to the downside, so we should be in short positions if you follow along with the early access Discord alerts for SPY. Right around the open, there's going to be price swinging, so you want to try and time this to close. If you got a profit right when we open, just take it. Like, just take the profit, right? And if you're able to time this well before you see a notable move to the upside, I would say open up a long position at the same time for a scalp. You're looking to close the long when we see this price level to be on the safe side, 573, and it's likely going to be a retesting of the highs that we had. And then close the long there. At the same time, you can open up a short for another scalp and close the short when it looks like we probably revisit. So we're gonna rally out of the low where we close the short and open the long, rally out of that, close the long. That'll be like an overbought crest, and we'll sell off from there. So you open up a short and we'll sell off through multiple supports, probably revisit the lows there, and that's where you would exit the short. Really, really lucrative morning if you time this stuff well. And that's based on the fact, partially, that we did come all the way back up here on the 4th. So my sense is that that's probably what's going to happen, and that we had our high for the month here in actuality on the 1st. I don't see us breaking through that. I really don't see us breaking through that. It's a pretty mixed month, October. Hopefully that helps. Hey, how much is the total access pass? The total access pass is $3,000 right now. I highly recommend, if this is something that you can afford, that you pull the trigger on that ASAP, because we're going to reprice that and it's going up. It's way too cheap for what we're giving away there. So right now you could steal that for $3,000, and that gives you a year of access to everything, my friends. All of these charts that I look at. Basically, any question that you have on Discord will get answered as well as part of that. Yeah, so it gives you everything that the monthly access subscription has as well, but so much more on top of that. Good question. Thanks for asking. Thanks for your interest. Can I check Bidden, Soar, or Tau? Oh, Tau is one of the ones that I added to the crypto. I did a crypto sector picker reading, and I isolated the 3 sectors. Out of the ones that I did, I couldn't look at all of the crypto sectors. There's so many, it's ridiculous. So out of the ones that I picked, I isolated the top 3 performers for 2025, and then I went in and isolated a bunch of the performers of each of those sectors by doing a crypto picker for all of the cryptos that are in that sector to basically find the outperformer within the outperforming sector. And so all of that stuff's coming out. The paid versions of those videos are going to be where we get into the 1 years in depth of each of the outperforming cryptos. That'll also be part of total access, not necessarily of monthly access. So yeah, let's take a look at Tau for you. I love the name of the stock, by the way. I am very much a Taoist. I'm also obviously Jewish, but I traveled throughout South Korea in my 20s with somebody that basically the founder of a martial arts, a South Korean martial arts, which was a Taoist energy practice, a Taoist kind of energy martial arts, combining Reiki, Tai Chi, Qigong or Qigong, depending on what language, and Taekwondo, even a little bit of that. It was very much about learning about chakras and channeling energy into and out of yourself and into and out of other things, and it was really, really beneficial. Taoism is so dope. So I like the name of this stock right off the bat, or this crypto, excuse me. So let's take a look. Oh, yow. There should be a yow. Is there a yow crypto? Because there should be. So it's also called Bit and Soar. Okay, that's good to know. I wonder if it's got my... one that I usually use. Here we go. So these are the same? We're sure these are the same? Yeah, they must be. Bit and Soar, Tau. Yeah, they're the same. Okay. Those crypto pickers, and also I did the same thing for stock sectors and the stock picker readings. All that stuff is coming out probably like a week and a half from now. Well, that's when I'll get to edit it. We'll see. It's coming out in a bit. We got a bunch of 2025s coming out. This looks very bullish to me right off the bat. This looks extremely bullish. Holy cow, it's already $671 and it just started in March of 2023. Pretty solid, guys. It started what? Where did it start? What was this? At 80 bucks? Nice gain. So let's see, how much higher do you think this is going to go? On a multi-year scale. Oh wow, this is super bullish, guys, on a multi-year scale. So what I mean by multi-year, this is a product that you can order on our website, guys, Tarot for Traders. It's one of our most recent additions to the website. It's a multi-year readings. They're also relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other custom things. So you go to hover over order now, click on custom readings, and then you're going for multi-year reading. Click here to order. They're $150 a pop. You can pick 2020 to 2029, 2030 to 2039, 2040 to 2049. Even though this one only started in 2023, I do it this way because it's from the standpoint of the system of SOMeta, standardizing the time, time increments is really important. I highly recommend somebody order that because it's the only way a multi-year for SUI is getting done anytime soon. Wait, do I have one? I have one, right? What am I saying? Oh, not SUI, for Tau. It's the only way that's going to get done anytime soon. It's not like You know, I'm not laughing like, I want you to pay for it. I'm laughing because I'm so behind on stuff that needs to be done before the end of the year because of all the orders that people have made. So there's no time really left to do, you know, much pro bono stuff. I give a lot away as it is anyway. So highly recommend somebody ordering that. So this one looks like a really solid multi-year kind of hold. Would you take a look at Blur? Yeah, guys, I'm gonna cut the questions here just because I'm already over. Uh, Usually off at 9, and I got some recordings to do. But let's see. Your forecast on October USO mentioned 2 peaks. When will the second one occur? Oops. This is something covered by the monthly access subscription. This actually looks like it might be a little low. I'm gonna put this up here a little bit. This is a little bit aggressive. So my forecast, the 2024 forecast. Where's my USO? What am I doing? There we go. Yeah, so it looks like we're probably a little bit the on the actual chart we're probably a little bit ahead as far as the timing. This highest high here is probably what we're going into. Let me see. I'm wrong. That's the peak right there. And the other one's towards the later part of the month, at an important technical price level, most likely on a multi-year scale. It's going to get really wild here. We're going to see really significant lows in between really significant highs. This is really going to get very like whipsaw, probably because of the war, obviously. So I would recommend being in a straddle or some sort of instrument that's going to benefit from a higher volatility, an increase in volatility. Breathe easy. Message me on the website, dude. We'll talk about it. Message me on the website. Say, hey, this is Breathe Easy from YouTube. Proof. I'll do Blur, and then 6K this year. SPY, does SPY hit 6K this year? I'll do Blur for you, and then I gotta roll, guys. Apologize if I didn't answer your question. Yeah, it does hit 6K this year, and that's probably a good cash out location. If you're riding a long position into that price level, I would say that's where you want to cash out. And we'll look at that in more detail, when it comes around time for that to take place. All right, so Blur, I believe, is also on there. Cadison, Proof. A lot of the ones that you suggested made it on the altcoin. I don't think all of them did, but the majority of them did make it into the altcoin picker readings. Thank you for those suggestions, my friend. Wonder if I have one for this already. No. Blur for October. All right, so overall, my friend, let's see. Overall chart behavior for the entire month of October, not just what's ahead of us, but overall the entire month of October chart behavior. We have the completion of a rally, so there's probably more upside ahead of us based on this multi-week. Well, I'm looking at multi-week. Let's look at multi-day. Okay, so yeah, we're in a bit of a rally here. But October, it looks like we have the completion of a rally that'll be like, it'll be a crest, not a peak per se, but there'll be like a crest that kind of we roll over. And then it looks like we're kind of like stuck in, like we're stuck below resistance in November, and then another strong rally commences in December. October by the week. Yeah, so bullish in the first week. We successfully find support in the first week. It looks like that's exactly what happened. We found support and we're moving to the upside, but the second week is a decline with some sideways rotation and then more decline. The fourth week, that decline really increases with momentum, and then we have a resistance level the third week, the decline increases with momentum, and then in the fourth week we have a resistance level that highlighted that we failed to break through many times before. Usually we decline from it pretty strong. You got it, Rad. Thanks for your support, my man. All right. I'm gonna answer. I'll get the other one, Catizen coin, and then I really gotta roll, guys. No more questions, please. There's only one more, so I'll get you on that as well. Proof. Oh wait, and there's a question about theta. I'll handle that too. Catizen. Oh, nice. This one just got rolling. Let's see. Overall, let's see what this is going to do the remainder of the year. This is moving to the upside the remainder of the year. Well, maybe not the whole remainder, but it's a sideways fluctuating rally preceding a sharp decline. That sharp decline could commence before the end of the year, or it could be commencing in 2025. Let's see on a monthly basis what we come up with here. Yeah, okay, so we have a prominent move higher, full retracement of that move taking place in October, more decline in November, an important range on a on like a 1 year chart scale highlighted in December, which means we're probably finding the bottom end of the range there. Either that or we're bound within a range and you see back and forth going on, and then there's a decline in January offering opportunity to open up a long position for, it looks like a swing trade into March. All right, Raymond, I got you, my man. Do you know about when theta will peak and what price level it will peak at? I recall you charting theta with a price of at least double within the next month or so. Yeah. So right off the bat, disclaimer, guys, theta was the one in 2024 that's really been giving me like hassling me. My expectations have been much bigger than the moves. So annoying. But there's usually one, like every year I have one. Unfortunately, it was theta. Last year it was SPC. Just the 1 months are really, they're accurate, but from the scale of the 1 year reading where I expected highest highs, they were just peaks, not highest highs. So with that said, it was a pretty unclear 2024 reading. However, the end of the year, the clarity is becoming stronger, and 2025's reading is super strong. So I'll also throw that in there. Let's take a look at theta, one of the coins that's covered from our monthly access subscription. And that's Theta Network, in case there's any other thetas. Right, so we did get this entry point here. We also advise opening up a long position here around October 3rd. So hopefully people following along with the monthly access subscription did that. And what we're looking for, this huge range, guys, these are possible. So the way that you want to read these if you're new to the channel, this is the wise area to exit out, where it's darker, there's two ellipses overlapping. This is the wise safe play. This is like the speculation. It might go all the way up here, but like scarcity mentality is what will make somebody wait for like max gain. It's not a smart move to look for max gain. This is kind of a possibility, yeah. So you could risk it, especially if you got higher risk tolerance or you're looking for a speculative kind of move. But I think rule number one should always be protect capital. So I go for like the safest exits that I see, and then I move on and reposition that money somewhere else. And Bitcoin real quick, let's take a look. Yeah, like I said, we're going to have a high here for the month. On the 7th, we're going to create this truce price level. It's probably this science card. We already have this marked off on Bitcoin. I bet you it's that price level. Let me see. No, actually, it looks like we go higher. Looks like we probably hit that price level 65150.86. Now, again, if you're trading this information, you're new to the channel, do not wait for price level like to the penny. You're looking for a range as your exit. Anybody who hopped on late when I was covering Bitcoin, my expectation for an exit, we got in a good entry. My expectation was for an exit on the 5th, but that didn't work out. However, the price range that we were looking for, we've entered into it here. So really, this is a smart place. If you got into a long position for this swing trade here, this would be a good exit, even though we're likely going to go higher. I'm not always right, guys. And a wise trader is always going to protect their capital, and they're going to take gains while they have them, right? That's what a wise trader will do. So, you know, with that said, we made it. We've fulfilled that price range just a little bit late. I would say take profits there. Wait for us to hit the resistance and turn around, and then when we're declining off of that resistance on the 8th, you could open up another long if you wanted. And if you follow along with the monthly access subscription, then I'll be timing that in real time for you with the Discord alerts. All right, guys, I got to roll. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. Much love and appreciation. The next live stream is going to be tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The morning ones, I seem to be not as like consistent, but when I miss them, it seems to not be the Monday one. It seems to be the Wednesday one when I do miss one. So I'll see you guys 9 a.m. tomorrow. And we'll be and if you don't see me on the live, guys, for whatever reason, you know, follow those Discord trade alerts with the early access. All right, blessings to all my angel investors. You know what to do, you know where to go.